What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Charles from Millennial Trades. In this video, we're going to be talking about supply and demand zone trading and why it's so important. I have a fantastic example from PayPal today. It was a trade that I took. I was a little bit early on my entries, but I made about $100 today. And the reason this trade is so important is because the price on PayPal ended up breaking its low of day, which was the opening low. PayPal made a low at the open and then rallied into supply. It rejected, sort of pulled back a little bit, and then eventually it pulled back so much to the point where it actually broke its low of day, or broke the opening low. The reason this is important is because a lot of retail traders, I'm sure, bought puts or went short on that low of day break, not realizing that we were actually in a demand zone. Now, a demand zone or a supply zone is basically a period of consolidation followed by a move to the upside. So it'll be sideways, choppy action. This can be found on daily charts, weekly charts, can be found on a 5-minute chart, a 1-hour chart, a 4-hour chart. In fact, yesterday's demand zone that was established was, you can clearly see it on a 4-hour chart. Price did fall into demand, and even though my entry was early, so I was down on my contracts, I did not panic. I did not sell when we broke the low of day, because I knew the probability of this trade actually working out in the end was very, very high, because we fell into a demand zone. So there were lots of buy orders left over from yesterday that did not get filled, that were most likely going to push the price back up into supply. Not only did I stay in the trade, but I bought 2 more contracts. So altogether, I had scaled into a 5 call contract position. I did sell, didn't lose any money on the contracts, but I only made about $100. If I had waited and not entered where I did at first and waited until we really fell back into that demand zone, that's what I should have done. If I had done that, I probably would have made about $300, maybe $400 on this trade, depending on how many contracts I would have bought. But my entries were kind of early, but I knew that we were in demand, so I bought 2 more contracts, getting my average price down, so my profit margin was that much closer, and I ended up making about $100 on this trade. I will say this for people that are maybe new to the channel: I have been trading options now for close to a year. The last 3 months, I've been extremely consistent and extremely profitable. This month, I've actually made $2,000 trading options, scalp trading options, using supply and demand charting. And my account size, right now I only have about $1,800 in the account. With a relatively small amount of money, I am making between about $100 to $300 every single day. Now, do I take losses? Sure. Do I have bad trades? Absolutely. But the last 3 months, I've really gotten my act together, and I have found consistency. So let's go ahead and take a look at this trade a little bit closer. PayPal opened up, made a low, and then immediately rallied into supply. Now, I have a bad habit of sometimes trading too early, so I wanted to let PayPal figure out what it was going to do. I let it rally, then it pulled back. Now, I thought this was going to be a minor pullback, so that's why I started entering call contracts. It wasn't a minor pullback, it was actually part of a bigger pullback, and we did not rally back into supply immediately. PayPal kept pulling back, and don't get me wrong, I was nervous. You know, we're always a little bit nervous in these trades, if we're going to be honest. PayPal eventually pulled back so much to where it broke its opening low. It actually made a low of day break. And like I said in the beginning of this video, the reason this is so important is because there were many retail traders that lost money on this trade. They went short, or they bought put contracts thinking that, oh, well, it made a low of day break, so I'm going to short this thing and it's going to go even lower. Right, and this is why a lot of traders, you know, they chase breakout strategies, high of day breaks, low of day breaks. Long term, I do not think that is a profitable strategy, especially if you're not considering where the demand and the supply zone areas are. So when it made that low of day break, was I a little nervous? Absolutely. But I knew, I was confident that we had established 4-hour demand from yesterday, right? A 4-hour demand zone, consolidation in yesterday's price action, followed by a move to the upside in pre-market today. And from what I had charted, I could clearly see that the probability of us rallying back into supply as opposed to going down even more, the probability was high. And this is sort of like a trap, right? A liquidity trap for new traders, for naive traders. They short or they buy puts not knowing that they're in demand. This is why it's important to chart supply and demand and trade off of those zones. Now, I'm not perfect, right? My entries were too early. I should have waited for price to fall back into demand. But a perfect entry would have been right here on this pullback, where you can clearly see we sort of consolidated when we hit demand, tried to rally, we kind of pulled back a little bit, and then we got a nice green candle with a bottoming tail. That would have been a perfect long entry. You do not want to short these things when they are in demand. But if you don't know they're in demand, you're just going to assume, oh, it broke the low of day, so it's going lower. Well, that did not happen. My trade had a high probability. Even though my entries were a little early, it was very probable that I was going to be able to profit on this trade. So I did not panic. I stuck to my guns. I even bought a couple more contracts, getting my average down, and I ended up pulling about $100 out of the market. Did I wish I make more? Sure. But there's not a lot of other places out there in the real world within about an hour's worth of work you can get $100. I am very blessed and very grateful that I was able to make that. That being said, the old me probably would have bought puts thinking, oh, this has to go lower, right? The old me before I was charting supply and demand. And I will make a video about supply and demand zone charting, but there's tons of other videos out there that you can easily find. What I really want you guys to understand is that, patterns, they don't move the markets. High of day breaks, that doesn't move the market. Indicators, that's not what moves the market. That's not what moves price. What moves price and what moves these markets and what moves these assets and these equities and commodities that you're going to be trading is supply and demand. You can use this for stocks. You can use this for cryptocurrency. You can use this for future contracts. Supply and demand is what moves the market. And these are areas, like I said, of consolidation where big institutional traders are agreeing on price, and then eventually, because you have this balance, right? You have a balance between buyers and sellers. Eventually, you either run out of buyers or you run out of sellers. If you run out of sellers, you're going to be in demand and price is going to continue to go up. If you run out of buyers, price is going to go down, and that would be classified as a supply zone. So look for these periods of consolidation. You can find them on 5-minute charts, 15-minute charts. You can find them on hour charts, 4-hour charts, daily charts. This is, in my opinion, the path to profitable trading. Patterns inside of supply or demand is like double confirmation. Be very careful. There's an entire industry out there that is promoting the inversion narrative, right? They're promoting trading practices that do not actually lead to profits. And why would they be doing this? Because they need retail traders like us to provide the institutions and the banks liquidity. So be aware of that. In the future, I will make a video about supply and demand. Let me know if you have any other questions about my strategy, about my scalping strategy, or how I use supply and demand. It might give me some ideas for some videos. Let me know what you're using to pull profits out of the markets as well. I'm always willing to hear back from you guys and learn something that might be able to help me. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please do give it a big thumbs up. Follow me on Instagram at @millennial_trades. And as always, until next time, God bless.